Hello there. We're in the kitchen with Susan. If you're here with me in the kitchen for our month of pumpkin puree, what can you do with a can of pumpkin puree? Say something in the chat. I'm trying a whole new version. I got my tripod extended its whole way and I got my phone up top, hoping that you can see what I'm doing. So today, as promised, we're gonna make Crockpot red lentil pumpkin chili, and then we're gonna make a vegan gluten-free version of pumpkin cornbread. And I got my pumpkin cornbread tray all set up. I'm gonna use my Silpot muffin holders, and I just put them in the muffin pan, you know, just like you would the cupcake papers. That way you don't have to use any oil. And they come out of these Silpot little holders really nicely. So we're gonna use that for the muffins. And then for the Crockpot chili, I have this great, it's a steamer, rice cooker. Trying to see if I can get a vision of it, that I use for everything. And I can turn it on and put it on quick rice. And it'll saute my onions, and then I can throw everything else in and switch it over to Crockpot, which a lot of times I don't even have to do. I'm trying to get you back on the countertop. The legs are hanging in the sink. There we go. A lot of times I don't even have to switch it to Crockpot, because by the time I get everything in there, because it's just vegetables, it's done in like 30 minutes. But today I might let it cook a little bit longer just so all the spices blend together. So the first thing we're gonna do, I meant to have it turned on so it was heated up, but it goes pretty quick. First thing we're gonna do is I chopped up an onion, and that's gonna go in there. And you don't even have to saute the onions. You can just throw all this in the Crockpot all at once. So simple. I packed this up one year, all the ingredients for my sons, both of them. The one didn't have a Crockpot, so I bought him a Crockpot for Christmas and packed up all the ingredients for this chili, because all of this stuff you could have in your pantry. And since I didn't give you the recipe yet, I'm gonna read through what all's in it. 2 cans of red kidney beans, drained and rinsed. I got those ready to rock and roll right here. 2 cups of vegetable broth, which I have right here left over from something I made the other, I made Mexican rice soup. So, and it called for 6 cups and containers 4 cups. So I had 2 cups in the refrigerator. 2 cans of fire roasted tomatoes, a cup of pumpkin puree. I put in the onion, and then I have a jalapeno chopped up right here. And then we have cocoa powder, chili powder, cumin, cinnamon, clove, and salt. That's it. You wouldn't even have to saute the veggies. But we're gonna saute the veggies anyway. Just let them get going in here. And my sister bought me this. It's an Aroma brand. She bought this for me years ago. And I make all my soups in here because, like I said, you can put it on quick rice and it'll saute your veggies, and then add everything else and just let it cook. What is that on there? Okay. I don't know if you can see the notifications when they come up, and I don't know how to make them stop coming up. So if they're annoying to you, I'm sorry. They're annoying to me. Anyway, they're already starting to sizzle, and I have just a little bit of vegetable broth left. And since I don't cook with oil, I let them sizzle a little bit, and when they start to stick, I just add a little bit of vegetable broth, give it a stir, and let them do a little bit more cooking. So I think the next thing we're gonna put in there, we'll pretend like those already sizzled. I think I'm gonna put the jalapenos in there. And then I like to put the spices in before I put the liquid in, and just get that aroma going. And I like to put the lentils in. get all that sizzling up together. I like using red lentils because they cook up really quickly, and I don't feel like there is harsh on your digestive system as brown lentils, if that makes any sense to you at all. And then all of the spices I put together in here, the cumin, excuse me, the cumin, those jalapenos, I just took a whiff. The cocoa powder, the chili powder, the cumin, the cinnamon, and the cloves, and the salt. I mixed them all up. So I'm gonna put those in there dry. Smells good already. I wish you guys were here live with me so you could get a whiff. Let's see, tag friends. I don't have time to tag friends while I'm cooking. Anyway, if you come on, say hi in the chat. Hello, Julie. I know I can always depend on you to come for lunch. So we got that stuff going. I am gonna add the kidney beans. So far we got the onions, the jalapenos, the red lentils, all the spices, and now I added in the kidney beans. I got 2 cans of tomatoes that are going in. Tomatoes. You know, the pumpkin doesn't really add flavor, but it sure adds thickness, and it adds lots of fiber, lots of beta carotene. There's the tomatoes in there. I'm giving it a stir, getting all those spices blended up. Then we got the pumpkin right here. And I was lucky enough that Kroger had put their brand back on the shelf. Remember last week I told you the Libby's was $3.69. This was $1.49. It's the same thing, pumpkin. Hey, you gotta look for these bargains. Food is so expensive these days. This chili, it freezes really well also. It makes a lot, so you could take it to a chili contest or a Sunday afternoon football game. Everybody would like it. They wouldn't even miss the fact that there's no meat in it. I'm telling you. And then the 2 cups of vegetable broth, and we're good to go. It's done. Other than cooking for, the recipe says 4 to 5 hours on high, 8 to 10 on low. I've never cooked it that long. It'll actually start, because I have it on quick rice, it'll start boiling here in a minute. And, you know, 30 minutes of it simmering, and it's pretty much good to go. There you have it. It's finished. Can you see it? There it is. I'm going to shut the lid and let it do its thing. And then we're going to make the cornbread. The only problem with this being way up there is I can't read comments. Just realized I had to hit the, oh, the live to get on? Really? All right. You learn something new all the time. All right, that's cooking. I get my chili powder, even though it says it's McCormick's, it's not. I get it from Finley Market, and in case you ever want to get it while you're down there. I love it because, I don't know if you can see or not, but you can see all the different spices in there, and it's called Colonel D's baby chili powder, I do believe. It's really good. And you know what? Good spices make all the difference. You could make the same dish and use, you know, $1 spices, and it would taste totally different than mine, even though it looks like I'm using store-bought that maybe are old and sat on the shelf forever, but I'm using fresh from Findlay Market, Colonel D's. That's my recommendation. If you're gonna go to all the trouble to cook, you might as well have the best ingredients. That's why I try to tell you things like inexpensive ingredients, because there are some ingredients that you just have to bite the bullet and buy the more expensive. All right, that's done. Now we're gonna make I got my recipe right here. So I like to do gluten-free. The recipe, I do believe, called for 1 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour. Gluten-free all-purpose flour, for some reason, gives me indigestion. It's just the fact. So I like to blend it with other flours. So I'm going to use 1/2 cup of oat flour, which I just ground up my oats that are gluten-free. 1/2 cup of almond flour and 1/3 of a cup of the all-purpose. So I have to measure those two things out yet. I ran out of measuring cups trying to have everything ready. I ran out of these little cups that don't even hold a cup. They just hold maybe 3/4 of a cup. I'm gonna get a spoon and do the all-purpose, 1/3 of a cup of that. Better do it over the bowl. These old Tupperware measuring cups, I can hardly read the size anymore, but usually I know just by looking. Share all the ingredients that I buy at Findlay Market. Well, definitely my spices, but I don't think anything else here on the counter I bought at Findlay Market, just the spices. The almond flour, I get this big bag at Sam's, which almond flour is pricey, especially if you get the red mill. It's twice as much as this for half as much. So I do get that at Sam's. Where did that 1/2 cup go? Well, I guess I'll use 1/4. This is why fractions were important in grade school, right? If you want to be able to bake, you have to be able to do that. So we're doing 1/2 cup of almond flour. We did 1/3 of a cup of the all-purpose flour, and I put in 1/2 cup of the oat flour. My favorite combination for muffins has become almond, oat, and tapioca, which tapioca flour isn't too expensive. All right, there's that. Now, in this cup, I have baking powder, cinnamon, baking soda, and salt. So that's all gonna go in there. We'll stir it up. I'm gonna go heat the oven up so we can put the muffins in when I'm done at 350. Bake 350. So we got the flours and the spices in there. And then in this bowl, I'm gonna do I have a flax egg, which I already did. I ground up the flaxseed and mixed it with water. And I like to really, like you're beating up an egg before you put something in there. I like to use a fork and get it really stirred up. And you can see what it looks like. Kind of like wallpaper paste. Do not wash this down your drain. You will be calling the plumber and spending quite a bit of money to get your drain, because it forms just like the drain. It's a mess. So I usually wipe it out with a paper towel. I've learned my lesson. Do not wash it down the drain, not even that much. All right, we got the egg in there. The pumpkin, so it's a cup of pumpkin. And yes, 1 can was not enough. So either if you're gonna make 2 recipes, buy the bigger can. I had to take about that much out of a 2nd can. So this is gonna go in the freezer for next week when we make our next pumpkin recipe. Or you could just keep it in the fridge and make smoothies like we did last week. Your choice. I tend to freeze things. Like I said, everything that's in this recipe you could have in your pantry. In the chili recipe, the only thing that wasn't in my pantry was the jalapeno pepper. And when I buy them, I freeze them and then just chop them up as I need them. They chop up really easily. You can actually get them even smaller when they're frozen. Just be careful when you make that first slice to cut it in half, so you don't cut yourself. All right. Now, this recipe called for 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter melted, plus I added water because I didn't feel like we needed that much oil. But actually, you could do another 1/4 of a cup of pumpkin. Or you could use one of these applesauce. I think it's already going to be sweet enough. This is unsweetened applesauce, and it's exactly a 1/2 cup. That's why I buy these little containers. I'm just going to do 2 tablespoons of pumpkin and 2 tablespoons of water. In place of the oil. Sorry, I had to come over here to the water fountain. Forgot I was going to do that. All right. And then, and milk. I'm using rice milk today. Julie, probably you should have asked me what did I buy at Trader Joe's. So it's a 1/2 cup of milk. Here we go again, using the 1/4 of a, we use the 1/4. Times 2 is a 1/2. All right, put that over there. And I think that's it. Stir these together. I am gonna add some corn to the cornbread. I always think it makes it taste good. I guess I should put the cornmeal in, shouldn't I? So we got a cup of cornmeal. I just have regular old yellow cornmeal. Sometimes I'll put some grits in there, gives a little more texture. Today I'm gonna put corn in. So all the wet ingredients are stirred together. This recipe also says you can add walnuts and pumpkin seeds. I'm gonna leave those out today. And just like when I add fruit to the muffin batter, I'm gonna add the corn to the dry batter before I add the liquid. That way it doesn't all sink to the bottom. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Because once you put the liquid in there, it's all wet. But for some reason, if you put in the fruit or the corn dry, in the dry ingredients, and then add the wet ingredients, it doesn't float to the bottom. All right, sorry about my typing. It goes before I get the sentence typed. I need to go through mine and get rid of, yes, this is true. Ooh, I hear the chili. I hear it bubbling. I'm looking at it. I wish you could smell it because, you know, that's the best part of cooking, I think. Having your kitchen smell all yummy. And then when people come home from work and they're like, oh, what were you cooking today? What's for dinner? We have yet another funeral visitation tonight, so Bill probably won't be home from work in time. I think I'm just gonna go, and then he'll come home and he can just warm this up. All right, there we go. Stir it all together, put it in the pan and bake it, and we're done. It could have been done faster if I wasn't like distracted with reading, right? You can make this in a pan, not in the muffin pans. But to me, it's really simple to put the muffins in the freezer. More simple than making a big pan full of cornbread and then cutting it up and yada yada. This is really a thick batter. Now the other recipe that I looked up, it said to put molasses in here. But I'm not a real big fan of sweet cornbread. You can always add honey. Honey and butter. Well, I use Earth Balance, which is, I don't feel guilty about putting a little Earth Balance on my muffins or my cornbread because I didn't put any oil in the batter. All right. You could also throw some jalapenos in there if you wanted to. I'm trying to think what else it needs. Did I get everything in there? The other recipe also had nutmeg. And I thought about maybe sprinkling a little on the top or sprinkling some pumpkin seeds on top. I think we'll just bake them. All right. The easiest way I've learned to get this thicker batter into the cupcake pans is to just use my little cookie scoop. I love this thing. This is the best gift I ever asked for Christmas. Bill's family, we always used to exchange gifts and, you know, not spend so much money that we broke the bank, but yeah, I asked for this one year. And a melon baller. I don't really use the melon baller, but man, I use the heck out of this thing. This made way more than, I don't think I need that much in there. I'm used to making my big muffins and always takes 2 scoops. We'll just do half and half. This is why you wash your hands before and after cooking. Because I always end up playing with my food. Oops. Also good that you can just lift these out and put them back in. You might have to get out another muffin pan. All right, almost done. These go in the oven for 350 for, let's see. Doesn't say. Ooh, bake the loaf for 50 to 60 minutes and the muffins 20 to 25 minutes. That makes sense. If I put it in a loaf pan, you know, it would take a little bit longer. Anyway, there they are. All right. What do you think? Should we put some, I usually give them a tap. Ooh, sorry, that was loud. Give them a little tap, get the muffin stuff in there, and then we can stick them in the oven. Don't they look nice? These are gonna be so good. You could actually just put this muffin in your bowl and then spoon the chili. Oops. Spoon the chili on top. That would be delicious. Sorry, I was looking for my spoon. The lentils are not quite done yet. Usually just takes 15 minutes for the lentils, the red lentils, to cook, and you don't have to pre-cook them. Another reason why I like using them. The brown ones take quite a bit longer, and sometimes you have to pre-cook them before you add them to your recipe. So these are going in the oven, and I will see you next week with another pumpkin out of a can recipe. If you come on later, replay and say hi. Bye.